Hey beauties, it's Riri. Welcome back, or welcome if you are new. I'm an over 40 lover of all things beauty, and I love showcasing indie brands here on my channel. Today we're talking all things spooky and fall. This is my top 10 fall and spooky themed palettes. Alright beauties, before we dive in, please don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe down below if you do enjoy. We're diving right in. I actually have 13 palettes, don't yell at me please. But a couple of them kind of go together, if that makes sense. To me, fall, Halloween, spooky season, I kind of either go one way or the other. I either go very warm, very autumnal, like warm, golden, rust, reds, oranges, things like that. And I like to throw in some greens and golds, things like that. Or I'm way over here, like with today's look, where I go more grunge, more Halloween-esque, more jewel-toned, more rich and depthy. So those are kind of where these are stemming from. Some of these palettes are no longer available, but I will note that you can use any palette that looks similar to these. And yeah, we're gonna dive in. There's no particular order. These are all ones that I intend on using for the duration of the fall and spooky season. First up is the Wine and Only from Colourpop. I feel like this type of color story is slept on. I do not understand why all the fall favorite palettes that I have seen, nobody mentions reds and berries and wines and stuff like that. This is a phenomenal palette, great quality. They no longer have this one, but there are a couple on their website that are very, very similar to this. And obviously you can find a warm, reddy, berry, wine tone type of palette pretty much anywhere. I think this color story is slept on. I think these are beautiful, beautiful colors for the fall and spooky season. Next up is another one from Colourpop, and kind of going down the same lines as the Wine and Only. This one though is a little bit more clay, terracotta, a little bit more burnt, kind of rusty. This is a phenomenal little palette. I actually take this with me when I go traveling and we go out of town. It is great quality. I'm also not sure if this one is available. The Wine and Only I know is not. But again, there are several on their site or through other brands that you can get like this. I like that tonally it goes from light to dark. It does have the two little base shades here, like the cream shades. I've not used those, but this, phenomenal quality. And I love that there's a matching kind of matte to shimmer formula here. And these are incredibly pigmented. I think they are phenomenal. This is one of my favorite palettes that I've ever used from Colourpop. They nailed it with this collection. It was like a smaller little limited edition collection, I believe, the Clay It Cool, but it's beautiful. I think that it screams fall time. These are those yummy like comfort shades. I love it. I love it so, so much. So those kind of go one in the same, if you will. Next up, we have a cute little indie brand that I love and that I feel like is not hyped up enough, and I'm here to tell you that
they are amazing.
And these are both from Cosmetica, one of which I'm wearing today. The Druid, I'm almost positive this was in last year's. I might have should have watched that first. And if you're new here, it's a little bit of a shit show around here sometimes. I apologize. This is the Druid palette from Cosmetica, and this is like truly a Riri palette through and through. Like I was saying earlier, I like to go earthy and grungy. I love greens, and their shimmers for me are a standout formula, you guys. I feel like this screams fall. It's got your rusty shades, it's got the greens, it's got some depth and some richness to it. It's stunning, you guys. Their shimmer formula, oh my gosh, is it beautiful. And here are some of their shimmers, or like multi-duochrome shadows. They perform beautifully. They wear very well, which is super important for me. I'm all about longevity. I also really, really love that they're cute little 9 pans. They have the little mirror in them. They're perfect for travel. I've traveled with Druid many, many times. I think this is literally the quintessential fall palette if you are somebody that's into more kind of grungy, earthy, depthy tones. This is a stunner. It is beautiful. The other one is the Rogue palette. That is the one that is on my eyes today. I decided to match my shirt that I got makeup on. Ignore that if you see it. Another beautiful palette. I love that she's sticking with the gaming theming. I don't know anything about games, y'all. Like nothing, unless it's poker or card games. Sorry, not sorry. But I love the theming, the packaging. Everything is just small and compact, but they pack a punch. Again, nice little mirror. This one is definitely more dark, moody, rich, but also grungy. The jewel tones, again, the shimmers in here are insanely beautiful. So I will also swatch a couple of these for you. And her shimmer formula has a little bit more texture to it, but when they're applied to the lids, you do not see that at all. They blend out like glass. They're gorgeous. And of course, I mean, I have a love and admiration for small businesses and indie brands. You guys know this. Let me wipe these off. I'll be right back. All right, and I want to note too that when I say I have such a love and admiration for indie brands and small businesses, it's not something that I say lightly. I'm not just like, oh, you know, I want to support people. I do. I genuinely want to support people. But with my husband being a small business owner, I know the blood, sweat, and tears. I know the months that you don't get a paycheck. I know how hard it is to work to build up your brand and have that level of integrity and have people know you and trust you and follow along with you in your journey. So it's a very special thing for me. That is why I pride myself on really showcasing indie brands here on my channel. I just wanted to note that. Next up, of course, another indie brand. This is the Glamlite Scooby-Doo Creeps and Crawls 10 Shade Eyeshadow Palette. First of all, packaging, theming, 10 out of 10. I love Scooby-Doo. It brings such beautiful nostalgic vibes for me. My son and I have watched Scooby-Doo his entire life. I love it. I love it so much. Again, small mirror, attention to detail, love the packaging and the theming. Now, if you are somebody that is looking for out of this world, metallic, shimmery, sparkly, beautiful shades, Glamlite is top tier. And if you're looking for something that is incredibly dark, very bold, very rich, very moody,
this is it. This is a stunner.
I think Glamlite is one of the top in the game. From packaging, details, theming, their formulas, everything about them, and their price points. I do not understand why some people charge $80, $90, $100 for a palette when it is not necessary. This is, I think, a $20 palette, maybe $25. I can't remember off the top of my head. But it's beautiful. It's incredible. It lasts a very, very long time on my lids, which, as you guys know, is incredibly important to me. The depth in this palette is beautiful. Incredibly depthy, very rich, very moody. And the same with their shimmers. They just go on and glide on like butter. It's a phenomenal formula, and I don't know how they keep the price point as low as they do. I'm shocked, to be honest. So that is another one. I think, again, if you're aiming towards grunge, deep, depthy, it's perfection in my eyes. Next up is actually a trio. That's why I'm kind of cheating a little bit, and it's 13 instead of 10. It is the latest palettes from Gourmand Girls. I love these palettes so much. They're some of my all-time favorite palettes, and they are all in collaboration with Doodles by the Bunny. These are the perfect fall spooky season gothy grungy yumminess. First up is the Spooked palette, and I love that they're all the same size, same shape, everything else. The Spooked palette does have a mirror, and each has 14 shades. I feel like this one of the three from Gourmand Girls has the most neutrality to it. So you could go in and do very neutral, kind of just more earthy, warm-toned, more fall-esque types of looks. But then it goes very light to very dark. You guys know I love that. But then there are the pops of the more spooky season Halloween-esque type of shades too. The greens and the oranges and the purples. I think it is stunning. And these three palettes collectively, whatever formula she's using with these, she never needs to stop using them.
Because it is perfection.
The shimmers are absolutely beautiful. The shifts are very, very visible and very clear in the shades. The mattes are very smooth, very creamy. They blend out incredibly well. I feel like it's a very beginner-friendly formula. I love these. I love these so much. Next up was the Nightshade, also in collaboration with Doodles by the Bunny. And again, a mirror, folds all the way back, and the 14 pans. This one to me is one of those that's kind of more light and pastel, so you could build on that if you wanted to, but then it goes very deep, very grunge, very dark over here, but then still is kind of your typical Halloween-esque type of palette. It's got your dark blacks, it's got the grays, it's got the moody purples. You guys, I cannot say enough about these. I do have a code with Gourmand Girls. It is RERE10. This is of anyone that I have a code for. I don't earn commission on any of them other than Gourmand Girls. So if you do purchase through them, RERE10 for 10% off. Thank you so much for using that. Again here, I love that it's incredibly moody. I'm actually going to swatch the black too. She has my favorite black on the market. Again, the shimmer formula has a little bit of texture to it. I find that honestly most do. And then upon application, they sheer out so incredibly well, incredibly high shine, incredibly fulled. I love them. I love the fact that she switched over her formula, or I'm assuming that she did. And I hope she never stops using this formula because it is absolutely beautiful. Now, the closest to this one here, the Nightshade one, is the brand new release of the Haunted palette. This one is similar in that it has kind of purples, a little pop of yellow, a little pop of green. I will show them to you together. So you can see the two together. I think they are beautiful companion palettes as well. And I think that if you have either one of these, this one again offers a little bit more neutrality with these types of shades in it, but they're so incredibly beautiful. If you are a spooky season lover, like your girl right here, you love grunge, deep, bold, moody, they're just fantastic. They're absolutely phenomenal. Next up, one of my OG favorite indie brands, been repping her since the very, very beginning, and my first actual makeup video on my channel over 5 years ago, almost 5.5 years ago, was with Rouge Labs. She's another woman-owned indie brand, and my favorite palette from her, although her newest one, it's right there. It's right there. My favorite, Rouge Labs, Howlin for You. Phenomenal. It is a beautiful 9-pan palette, large mirror. The pans in here are enormous. And this is another one that you can lean a little bit more warm. You can do the purples, you can do the greens. I absolutely love this palette. It's been one of my top picks for like spooky season, fall, for a couple of years at least. I love it. Her formula is beautiful. It's impactful, very easy to work with, and her formula is very reminiscent to me of like Fantasy Cosmetica, where the mats are just a little bit more thin. I don't mind that. I actually like it, especially if you are a beginner, but I love it. I could do without the glitter. I hate glitter. We all know this, but I love this palette so much. It's so incredibly beautiful. She is also another brand that keeps her price point very, very low, and I don't know how the heck she does it. I love her. I swear by Rouge Labs. She can do no wrong in my eyes. I also have a code with Rouge Labs. It is Riri10. That's for you guys. Next up, y'all don't yell at me. We have Nomad Cosmetics, and I have 3 different palettes. First up is the Nomad Cosmetics, the Okavango Safari palette. This one right here, if you are somebody that you're like, girl, I would never in a million years use any of these palettes. It is all too much, too dark, too moody, too whatever. This is your friend. This is a beautiful representation, in my opinion, of what a fall palette would look like. You have your earthies, your greens, a little bit more cool tones here. You have a couple of warm tones in here. I love the matte to shimmer ratio here. And Nomad Cosmetics is another brand that I feel like they can do no wrong. I've had some hits and misses, but I feel like overall their packaging, again, their theming, the names, their shade selection, the layouts of the palettes, they're a very beginner friendly type of formula. They blend out incredibly well, but they also last all day on my lids. And this one is, unlike the other ones, there's not a lot of grunge or moodiness or anything like that. Like, you literally could use this and lighten it up, deepen it up. You can go green and go a little bit more grunge, go cool tone, go warm tone. I love this palette so, so much. And they also give back, which I also think is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Packaging, 10 out of 10. Love. Cannot say enough. Next up, this one also made it last year because it's a beautiful fall palette. Like, this is probably the fall palette, in my opinion. Okay, this is the Hudson Valley palette. And, I mean, it literally screams fall. Do y'all hear it? Fall! I heard it. Big mirror, again, love the layout, love the color story. I love that they went beautiful, warm, rusty tones over here, and then a little bit more cool tones over here. Again, very beginner friendly. The way that they lay out their palettes, to me personally, I think is genius. I love this palette. Their mattes are, again, very, very easy to work with, very blendable. I feel like it's a very beginner friendly type of formula as well. I love this palette. I will be using this a lot. It's a love. Next up, Nomad Cosmetics, but leaning more spooky. This is their latest palette, the Ghost Town USA. I'll start with the packaging. It does have that really cool lenticular scene, which I think is so freaking cool. I love this. I think it's phenomenal. Also, very, very large mirror. And again, the way that they lay out their palettes. A color story is one thing. But if I look at a palette and I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do with that? I'm not going to pick that palette up. But with this, it is very, very clear. Hey, you would use these together. You would use these together. You would use these together. And this one is kind of a mix of like the Hudson Valley plus the Okavango, meaning there's a little bit of warmth, a little bit of richness, but then there's also cool tones. You got your neutrals, you got a little bit of the greens over here. I think this is beautiful. They're also, in my opinion, a very affordable type of brand, and they're good people. They're good people. A lot of people out here are not good folks. So this is another top one. And then last on my list, and when I open this up and show it to you, you're probably going to be like, girl, that is not a fall or a spooky season palette, but
I'm here to tell you you're wrong.
This is the Nomad Cosmetics Surge palette. Also a top favorite. This one does not have a mirror. I don't mind that. They are an incredibly low price point for the value that you get. They are another brand like Nomad Cosmetics that I love the placement of their eyeshadows. I love the layouts and the color stories. It is very visible that, hey, you can start with a pastel and work your way down. Go to a mid-tone, go to a deep, go to your shimmers, you have your neons. Now, before y'all are yelling at me, okay, I can hear you. I feel you yelling at me. Take away this row and this row, and look right here. That is fall. You have a little bit of pops of warm tones, you have your green grunginess, you have your jewel tones, your kind of moody tones, and all of your corresponding shimmers. I think it's perfect. I think it's perfect for fall looks, warm tone looks, grungy looks, moody, deep, dark looks, and of course you can dip into this for Halloween season as well. The train's coming. I hope you don't hear that. I'm very sorry. That wraps it up. Let me know if you guys agree. It's okay if you don't. It's just makeup and it's just fine. These are my opinions. These are palettes I love, things that I enjoy, and things that I know I'll be using from here through February, March-ish. What are your top picks for fall? What are your top picks for grunge, spooky season, Halloween? Comment down below. Let's have that conversation. I love you, beauties. Stay happy, healthy, and safe. And of course, be your own best beautiful. Bye, beauties.